So here I'm speaking to Thomas Guillot, who is the CEO of the GCCA. Can you tell me briefly what is the GCCA?
We represent 80% of the cement and concrete capacity of the world outside China. And we have some key representative of the Chinese industry as member of our association. Our members are basically CEOs of all the leadership of that industry. And therefore, the commitment on the drive, on the leadership we have on the sustainability subject in particular is very strong. And he is reflecting the engagement of all these industries, all these companies around the globe.
So I know the cement industry has been making efforts for some time to reduce CO2, and your members have now committed to net zero CO2 by 2050. So a few months ago, you came up with a roadmap of how you're going to achieve this. What I was very interested in was, for the first time, this includes quite a large amount on downstream reductions, notably 22% from savings in construction. Perhaps you could say a little bit more about how you think you're really going to achieve that reduction outside your own direct industry.
Concrete is an important material. We know that it's we call it the backbone of the modern society we live in, and we consider that we will need concrete all around the world. The drivers for using the material are costs and speed of construction. And sustainability are not today in one of the criteria of selections. So one of the things that needs to be done by us, but throughout the value chain, is really to put sustainability at the core, or as one of the criteria for decision and the criteria for construction. I give you a few examples. Today, the building concept is more having large surface with slabs, large, etc. So this is basically the design of the construction, right? We know that this creates a very strong demand for the resistance of the slabs. So basically, if you would reduce the distance between columns, you would actually save a lot of need for resistance and a lot of column. That's one example. So that means that if we work on the way we design, on the way we build, etc., you can probably reduce the quantity, the strength of the material, and the quantity of material that is needed to do the building. But this implies obviously change of in the way you build, in the way you design, and all these things. So we are working with architects to understand, how we can actually rework design. But very important is also to work with the value chain. And in that sense, we are actually engaging with other associations. We are in particular a member of the Concrete Action for Climate with World Economic Forum. And with the aim is actually to engage with the rest of the value chain, the builders, engineers, promoters, landlords, etc., to have that discussions and to start changing the paradigm. Finally, a last point, I would say, one way to bring recognitions on sustainability is to give a price to carbon. Today, we live on the expense of the planet Earth for CO2, and we have 37 billion tons of CO2 that are emitted in the atmosphere at zero cost. The world is based on economy. You need to give a price to carbon if you want this to be reflected, and if you want people to start considering CO2 as a cost into their balance sheet. I think it's not only useful, but I think it's essential. I think this type of platform are really the place where actually these ideas are being exchanged. I think when we have a mix of people that exchange these ideas, including academics, including people from other areas, actually is a way to select the right solutions. So I think we have to participate in the debate, we have to bring our ideas to the table, and we have to confront these ideas to a reality. And I think this type of event are typically the place where these things they enable a change of mentalities, a change of way of doing. And that's what we need. The transformation and the transition to the low carbon economy will induce and will come with a change of practice. I give you one example, calcined clay usage, TLC-free. We have people sometimes that say, yeah, but it's a material that is used in a different way. Yes, precisely. Like the slag cement in the beginning of the 2000s was used in a different way from the OPC. And I think we have to explain to the world that, yes, the transition is not doing the same thing exactly. It's doing the same purpose, the same building. We need the construction, we need the infrastructure. We will just build in a different way.